Domestic abuse is an incident or a pattern of incidences of controlling, coercive, threatening, degrading or violent behaviour, including sexual violence. In the majority of cases, these are committed by a partner or an ex-partner, but can also be a family member or a carer. Domestic abuse can be fairly common. In the vast majority of cases, it's experienced by women and it's perpetrated by men. And that's not to say that women are the only ones who are the victims. Women can also be the perpetrators of domestic abuse, and it isn't limited to same-sex relationships either. Women are more likely than men to experience multiple incidents of abuse. Different types of domestic abuse, such as intimate partner violence, sexual assault and stalking, and in particular, sexual violence. Any woman can experience domestic abuse, regardless of their race, their ethnicity or religious group, their sexuality, their class or their disability. But some women who experience other forms of oppression or discrimination may face further barriers to disclosing abuse and finding the help that they need. However, in this video, I'm going to be discussing domestic abuse perpetrated by a man towards a woman and discuss how this can escalate into murder. In the past, police and victims didn't have much information on what can turn domestic violence into murder. The majority of domestic violence never escalates into murder. However, those that do escalate have horrific consequences. Thanks to the prominent work of Dr. Jane Monken, police and victims can now better understand which factors are more likely to escalate into murder. Dr. Monken-Smith has been able to identify a timeline of events which can indicate domestic abuse may turn into homicide. She says that controlling and behaviour could be one of the key indicators of somebody's potential to kill their partner. Around 30,000 women across the world were killed by current or former partners in 2017 alone. Dr. Monken-Smith said that women account for more than 80% of victims killed by their partners, and most of the time the partner is male. To conduct her study, she looked at all of the cases on the Counting Dead Women website where the woman had been in a relationship with the perpetrator, as well as several other cases, such as male victims who were killed by male perpetrators. She found that domestic abuse that escalated into murder all followed the same sets of behaviour. These behaviours all followed an 8-stage pattern where each behaviour led on to the next until they ultimately killed their partner. But that isn't to say that all cases will automatically escalate onto the following stage. They may stop at any particular stage. Some abusers, for example, stop at stage 4 and never progress beyond that. However, being aware of these stages can be useful in implementing safeguarding measures and actions taken by the police to protect these people. Stage 1 is there being a pre-relationship history of stalking or abuse by the perpetrator. The second stage is that the romance develops very, very quickly and into a serious relationship. The third stage is that the relationship becomes dominated by coercive control. The fourth stage is that there's a trigger to threaten the perpetrator's control. For example, the relationship ending or the perpetrator gets into some sort of financial difficulty. The fifth stage is an increase in the intensity or frequency of the partner's control tactics, such as by stalking or by threatening suicide. The sixth stage is that the perpetrator has a change in thinking, choosing to move on either through revenge or by homicide. And the seventh stage is planning. The perpetrator might buy weapons or seek opportunities to get the victim alone. The eighth and final stage is homicide. The perpetrator kills his or her partner and possibly hurts others, such as the victim's children. The only instance where a stage in the model was not followed was when the men didn't meet stage 1, but this was normally because they hadn't had a relationship before. This 8-stage model could be tracked by police where domestic abuse has been known to take place. It has the potential to save lives. Previously, it wasn't known which victims of domestic abuse were more at risk from being murdered by their partners. In all cases where domestic abuse takes place, there's planning, determination, and there's always coercive control. These abusers will have a history of stalking, aggression, and abuse in their previous relationship. Dr. Montcalm-Smith said that once police learn these 8 stages, they can help to keep track of certain potential perpetrators, while victims will be more easily able to articulate to professionals what situation they're in at the time. She also said that there should be more research into the ways in which victims can leave control in relationships safely, and into what causes people to seek control in intimate relationships in the first place. We do have a better understanding of domestic abuse now, and we recognise that abuse isn't always physical. We also have a better understanding of intimate partner homicide now. It isn't always triggered by one single event, such as the relationship ending or somebody cheating. These murders aren't simply committed in the heat of the moment, or in previously called crimes of passion. Abusers begin their intent to murder before the event takes place. We know that controlling and coercive behaviour underpins the vast majority of domestic homicides, and it's important that we take non-physical abuse as seriously as physical abuse when we're considering a victim's safety. I hope that you found this video interesting and that you've learned something from it. Thanks for watching then. Bye for now.